Hey guys, I'm sorry about that. I was running out of time. I saw my timer. I was like, oh, gotta pause. I gotta stop this video. But anyway, the leader of the Saviors pretty much tells Gavin to stop. Only after Gavin puts a few more hits on poor Richard, which really sucks. But then again, Richard's the one that pretty much started it, because yes, Gavin was baiting Richard, saying, us Saviors are letting the kingdom off so easily, but just letting you guys give us 8 pigs, we could have done worse. Yes, Gavin was baiting Richard, but it didn't mean Richard had to take the bait and piss the stupid guy off, right? It's like, ugh, Richard, I barely know you and you're already getting on my nerves. It's like, yes, it's pretty obvious Gavin is trying to get a rouse out of you. Don't fall for it! It just, no! And we've seen what the Saviors can do, especially freaking Negan, okay? So it's like, you do something wrong, this Gavin guy could report to Negan, and Negan will show up and kill someone or kill multiple people in the kingdom like he did with Rick's group. So please stop, especially since Carol is still there in the kingdom and Morgan's there too. Please don't risk any more with Rick's group. But anyway, the Saviors leave, and they pretty much remind Ezekiel and the kingdom members there, next week, same time, guys, give us some produce next time, okay? And if they don't, of course, they're gonna say Richard's gonna be the first one to die, because of course Richard's the one that starts the fight, right? So he's like, next week, you give us some produce. If you don't deliver, Richard will be the first one we kill. So that pretty much happens, and it's like, Gavin. I hate Gavin, little punk, but Richard should know better, because it's the Saviors, because apparently they've been doing this for a while with the Savior. Like, obviously they were doing this for, like, this trade thing with the Saviors even before Carol and Morgan was around, right? Obviously, so he should know better. You'd think that freaking Richard knows better, I'm just saying. But anyway, that kid Benjamin that Morgan pretty much takes in to, like, teach Aikido, pretty much informs Morgan about the fact, his father was killed during a run with Ezekiel, and now Ezekiel is more, safe when it comes to that kind of stuff. And he also tells Morgan that they obey the Saviors mainly because they know that they'll never be able to defeat the Saviors, because in a way they're kind of outgunned, because I didn't see many guns on them. Granted, they did have guns, and they are capable of fighting a little bit, but not to the extent of this, not to the, comparison to the Saviors. Because obviously the Saviors have a lot of guns and a lot of, very physique tough guys. So I am not surprised by that at all, that the Saviors could pretty much take on the kingdom and kill them all, if you think about it. But then, like, after a while, and they're talking while eating lunch, and Morgan decides, to check on Carol. He brings her a tray of food, only to discover that Carol is actually gone again, even the wheelchair that she was on is still there. And apparently, like, during the day while Morgan was out, the whole pig trading thing, Carol, acting all innocent and everything, starts rolling around in the wheelchair, stealing supplies, like she stole a knife while the guards were turned, and then she started talking to this one dude doing laundry, and pretty much puts like this innocent act on him where, hey, can you get me a tissue and all that stuff, and while he's away she steals clothes. But basically, we see that Carol during the night, just before she leaves, starts picking fruit in the main common area, where she gets spotted by Ezekiel and his little like sidekick guy over there. And to the point where Ezekiel dismisses the sidekick and has like a one-on-one talk with Carol. And, he starts questioning her, he's very suspicious of Carol, wonders how Carol manages to survive, and where she originally came from, and, Carol pretty much, he basically puts her on blast, because he's like, I see what you're doing that innocent act, you pretend to be all nice and innocent so you can blend in with everyone, only to steal from them what you need, and just disappear like you never existed. So he pretty much puts her on blast, and pretty much, figures her out, right? And, Carol, because of that, she drops the act and starts talking to Ezekiel, saying, you're just another ruler. That's a random freaking ruler who is a fake, basically. She's blasting him about being such a fake ruler and giving this fairy tale to everyone here in the kingdom. And Ezekiel pretty much reminds Carol that people look up to him. And apparently these people looked up to him because the moment they saw Ezekiel with Shiva, and the fact that Shiva didn't, try to eat or kill Ezekiel, they came up with these stories like he found her and wrestled her and now master of her and all that stuff. So they came to respect that, and he didn't really stop them from those rumors. He gradually took in those false rumors and pretty much amplified it, despite the fact that they're false about him. And he pretty much admits that he was once like a zookeeper kind of guy. And while in his zoo, he saw that Shiva was injured one time at the zoo, and decides to help her. And since then, pretty much Shiva's never harmed him, right? And gained her loyalty because of it. And when the apocalypse went down, he went back to the zoo to find Shiva, and she was like the only animal left, and he decided to adopt her. And when he adopted her, people looked up to him because he has a freaking tiger, right? And of course they spreaded these false rumors about, he found this tiger, wrestled with it, gained her loyalty to the point where she listens to him. And so people just believed in this false stories that they keep making up about him and all that stuff, and he just took it all in. But, Ezekiel pretty much, tells the truth about his background story and about Shiva and about who he pretty much opens up to Carol right then and there, and he barely even knows her, which is pretty freaking funny if you think about it. It's like, you barely know this woman. For all you know, she could be a savior. You know what I mean? Like, why would you trust that? But he does anyways, and Ezekiel tries to remind Carol, it's bad out there. It is always going to be bad, but there could be some good in life, like, you just have to prove that by being hopeful. Like, even his false story gives the people of the kingdom hope, and we need more of that, right? And it kind of scares me, because you know what happens to every good-hearted character that's like the symbol of hope in The Walking Dead? You remember what happens? Yeah? Beth? Oh my god. And what's her name? That little sister that got killed by her older sister. She was like a cute little ball of hope. And look what happened to her. Tyrese. It's like every time they have a glimmer of hope, like a symbol of hope, that person gets killed off. Like the recent one being Glenn. So it's like, Ezekiel, why are you doing this? I don't want you to have a giant target on your back, but especially since I read in the comics with Ezekiel, and it's like, I like him. I like Shiva. So please stop making yourself a huge target, right? But anyway, Ezekiel he convinces Carol to stay, but at the same time, he respects her decision if she just wants to leave, right? And so he sends Morgan, and you see them riding on 2 horses, and they stop at that one house that they that had that walker lady that Carol saw in the beginning of the episode, and Morgan, he has a talk with her, agrees to let her go. Also tells her, take care of yourself, right? And Carol tells him, I'm sorry, there were many times where I tried to, shoot and stab you, They pretty much make up amends between the two of them, which I thought was really freaking cool to see. And, Carol, despite the fact that, Morgan allows her to leave and says, you can go, and she decides to leave, she vows to actually stay inside that abandoned house where that walker lady was. And so when she enters the building, of course she kills the walker lady that's in there. She basically makes a home in that abandoned house that's literally right outside the kingdom. And just as she's making a fire, she gets a knock on the door, and she's kind of scared and hesitant because obviously it's a random person. She doesn't know who it is up until you hear Shiva roar, right? So she opens the door to see Ezekiel and Shiva, and you see Ezekiel with a nice looking shirt on, like a new shirt. And he has a freaking pomegranate in his hands, like, you really gotta try this. It's really good. And obviously you could tell he's like trying to seduce her with a pomegranate, because it's like, really? Really right now? Even freaking the actor himself, when they asked her, why do you think that he was there with a pomegranate at the end of the episode? And the actor's like, because he's trying to get into her pants, man. It's like, oh my god, that is, this actor. Beautiful response. That was hilarious, because it really does look like, because he's wearing like this loose-fitting looking shirt with like buttons untied, so you see a little of his chest. He's all like holding himself all like sexy like, and he's like, you really gotta try this pomegranate. It's like, Ezekiel, can it be any more obvious you're trying to get into Carol's pants? It's hilarious. But the fact that he does that and she actually smiles in the end, it's hilarious. I thought that was funny as heck. But anyway, this episode was a good one. It was a good recovery episode, especially after the trauma we went through with episode 1, losing Abraham. Like, Abraham getting killed. Anyway, I gotta go. Someone's here, and I'll continue this in another video, okay? Bye, BooTube.